Of Colorado was so generous with his time. I'll ask him a question on my own time here. It says on line 11, page 15, the Secretary shall offer for sale no less than 25% of the annual nominated acreage not previously made available for lease. So what restrictions are there on nominations? How would that work? Well, while you're thinking about it, I'll reclaim my time when you get the answer from staff, and I'll make my statement so we won't burn through all the time. And I'll be happy to yield back to the gentleman when he has the answer from staff. This imposes a shot clock, essentially. The gentleman is trying to mitigate for that by proposing that some other revenues go back to the Interior Department for those people who are engaged in permitting. But basically, after 60 days, drilling permits would be deemed approved, whether or not safety reviews had taken place. 1/5 of the drilling violations on public lands over the last 13 years were related to problems with blowout preventers and other well control equipment. And of course, we've just seen where we do have a blowout from a natural gas well. Saw that on television this morning. We could potentially short-circuit safety here. It might even lead to a perverse deadline, since the Secretary, if the Secretary was not, did not want to approve the lease or had not gone through all the steps necessary to vet that lease, then the Secretary might just deny it the 59th day. Otherwise, on the 60th day, it's deemed approved. So I think it might actually have a perverse effect. And does the gentleman have an answer to the question now? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, thank you. I just needed a moment
I have to yield to the gentleman, sure.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And I wanted a moment to review to make sure I had everything in order. But we would take acreage that's already been designated by the agency as available for leases, that the companies that are interested in exploring and developing then do their due diligence, and they nominate certain parcels back to the agency. So we're going under existing process, under existing law, but we have to put in some kind of minimum threshold so we don't have a situation a couple years ago in Colorado, a grand total of 5,000 acres out of many hundreds of thousands of acres was made available in the first place.
Okay, well, I thank the gentleman for that explanation. Thank you. Of course, the question is here, it's 25% of whatever is nominated of those lands every year, year after year after year. And I don't know if the industry nominated all the land in the first year, then I don't know how you would, what you do in the second year, but I would have to talk to the people at MIT about how that would work. There's one other major concern we have, which is, and I think the gentleman spoke earlier, he's a lawyer, I'm not. I have been aggravated by frivolous legislation in a number, litigation in a number of areas, as I'm sure have many members. But, the issue is a judge has the authority to assess court costs and other pretty stiff penalties against those who file frivolously against, and who are not acting sincerely in the public interest or the protection of the existing law and or the environment under the existing law. But this would essentially have sort of like some kind of new poll tax. You've got to put up $5,000 to file. And I would suggest that that would be a very dangerous and poor precedent to establish, that you would have to, in order to pursue something that you believe is in the public interest, or in order to, basically sue a federal agency because you believe they acted improperly on this, no matter which side you're on, you're going to have to put up the $5,000 to get your day in court, to get your redress. It seems to me it kind of violates at least the spirit, if not the actuality, of the right to petition the government, which essentially filing litigation against the government is, for redress of grievances. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.
Is there further discussion on the bill? If not, the